Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Matt Lateplo, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you have joined us for our next live presentation from Gamelancer Media Corp. Before I introduce our speaker, a few points to note. Please submit your questions in the question box to the left of the slides. If you are interested in scheduling a meeting with Gamelancer Media, please click on the Meetings tab found on the left navigation bar. You'll be able to view the company's availability and submit a meeting request. On a final note, all of today's presentations will be recorded and available for 24/7 replay. At this point, I am very pleased to welcome John Dwyer, Chief Executive Officer, and Mike Cotton, President and Chief Operating Officer of Gamelancer Media Corp, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol GAMGF and on the CSE under the symbol GMNG. Welcome, John and Mike.
Thank you so much, and a big thank you to everyone for spending a half hour with us to hear more about the Gamelancer story. So we are a media and entertainment company. We own and operate the largest gaming community on TikTok and Snapchat, and one of the largest on Instagram. Notably, we have one of the top 3 largest communities on TikTok globally. And what we have fundamentally built here is a network that grows by over 1.2 million people a month. We have over 34 million subscribers. 56% of them are in the United States, and over 78% are in the United States, Canada, the UK, and Australia. As we get through this presentation, you hear myself and Mike talk a little bit more about what we do at Gamelancer. What I want you to pay attention to is the sanctity of the audience, how important it is to have an audience on these new social media platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and Snap, but most importantly, TikTok, which is now establishing a new hegemony in social media with them firmly on the top. The opportunity to really understand who your audience is, where they're located, and more importantly, what their preferences are, therein allows you to aggregate meaningful data analytics that we can take to partners that we work with. And as you go through our deck, you'll see our clients include Samsung, Belkin, RBC, Disney, ESPN, and Celsius, amongst a variety of others. These are corporations that are looking to engage with the Gen Z and young millennial demographic, which is that 12 to 32-year-old demo. And that's where we really shine. These people are spending an average of over 95 minutes a day with us on our channels. They are consuming the content that we populate across our 27 channels the same way that people watch TV. And if you want to reach that Gen Z demographic of 12 to 26, you will not catch them on TV. So if you're ESPN and you're trying to get folks to watch more NCAA football or the NFL broadcast on ESPN Plus, they are capturing them by populating content on our channels, which we're producing in-house, broadcast to our entire audience, and encouraging them to go and watch a linear television broadcast of ESPN or click a link and watch a live stream. So as you go through the presentation, really start to think about how our audience plays a role in all of our campaigns, and that we're not just a company that owns a massive network that's this monolith. We are a company that provides creative to all of our clients and really helps them build a narrative and storytell to this community on TikTok, Instagram, and Snap, such that they create brand affinity and we can see meaningful conversions in the market where people are either tuning into a broadcast of ESPN, going out and buying a Samsung Odyssey monitor, opening a checking account at RBC, or going and buying a beverage like Celsius or G Fuel. So this is new media. This is where the world is heading. TV is experiencing massive attrition in the amount of folks under the age of 30 that are watching, and it's because their attention is now being diverted away from television to consuming media on social, notably short form media. And when we talk about short form media, that's the kind of short videos that you see on TikTok, on Instagram Reels, and on Snapchat Discovery, amongst a variety of other platforms. But TikTok is number one, and we're number one on TikTok. So I'll pass it over to my colleague, Mike Cotton, to continue our presentation.
Thanks, John. So a little bit about what differentiates Gamelancer Media. As John mentioned, we host privately owned broadcasts and distribute content across our owned and operated channels, which generate upwards of 1.8 billion monthly views. What's really important about owning real estate within TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram, which is where our owned and operated channels reside, is that it's irreplicable real estate. If you go on to any of those platforms and type in @gaming, @Gamelancer, at eGirl, which is our female focused channels, nobody else has those handles. No one else can replicate that audience. And since our channels are owned by us, we were able to control what is distributed, when it's distributed, where it's distributed, and to whom it's distributed. We also extrapolate data on our followers and know exactly which content performs well on our network when it's posted. We guarantee a certain amount of views and exposure for the brands that we work with through the network. And this really enables Gamelancer Media to price our packages competitively and reliably while delivering unmatched value to our advertising partners. So we're essentially acting as a conduit, as John referenced, between our partners and brands that are looking to access this Gen Z and millennial audience and the subscribers that reside within our network. So many brands don't know how to reach this audience, where they consume content, how to authentically sell to this audience. And so what we're doing is we're listening to our consumers, we're listening to their preferences, and those preferences are informing how we leverage TikTok as an ecosystem to help brands commercialize and convert into our audience. So not only are we ensuring that the content of our campaigns is entertaining, but the transformation of the advertising sector into short form content has created a very unique opportunity for companies like ours to demonstrate to blue chip brands like RBC, like Samsung, like Disney and ESPN, the power of advertising on TikTok, and especially the power of advertising through short and snackable clips that grab consumer attention immediately, leave them wanting more, and demonstrate higher engagement rates and significantly more conversions for our partners.
Our management team all has a very diverse background in a variety of different forms of media, whether it be programmatic, direct, or what we're seeing now across social, which we're all referring to as new media. So Mike's background would be staggering to most. I believe he's worked for over 11 NHL teams, founded the analytics department at the New York Rangers under Glenn Thather, took him to the Cup, as well as worked for the Mets in a similar capacity under Sandy Alderson. Our other founding business partner, Max Demaray, built a company called Scale Lab, which was one of the largest multi-channel YouTube networks in the United States, which he sold for 100x in 2020. They had 5.6 billion monthly views and 230 million subscribers. Just an absolutely massive property. So you've got this group of people, this constituency of leaders, which also include Razvan Romanescu and Darren Lopez, who are our founders here at Gamelancer. They built this network. They had the idea to go to market in 2019 when TikTok just started to become popular, and they bought all of these handles, as Mike talked about, on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. We own all of the same channels at Gaming, at Gamer, at Gamelancer, eGirl, and beyond. And for all of the top 10 video games on the planet, we have a channel on TikTok, Instagram, Snap, and Twitter devoted to those as well. So not only do we have this macro version of what gaming is, such that we can reach the most endemic audience, the people that are playing console games, upwards of 4 to 6 hours a day, to the casual gamer. If you're playing Words with Friends or Candy Crush, or you casually play, any number of console video games, we really have cast this wide net. And that really started with this idea that Raz Romanescu and Darren Lopez had, which was, let's go to market here and build an authentic community and wait to monetize it. And that was really important. We didn't start to view this platform as true monetization through the development of in-house produced content and its distribution until 2021. So we've been very thoughtful about how we've gone to market, and kind of with that change that we're seeing in the industry, where brands are now flocking towards short form content, that's happened pari passu with this giant launch of TikTok becoming the #1 video platform for short form. So it's just been an incredible journey, and it feels like we're only in the first inning, and a lot of it is attributed to the great people around the table here at Gamelancer.
So this slide encapsulates our approach to how we run engagements with brands. And I think by way of example is probably the most effective way to go through this slide. So we're partnered with RBC around a campaign to promote financial literacy and to destigmatize challenging conversations around finance. And so the way we approach this is RBC comes to us with a problem and says, we are not reaching or resonating with the Gen Z or millennial audiences through our traditional forms of advertising, through the advertisements we're putting on linear television, which of course are either not reaching them in the first place or not landing. And so what we did is specifically partnered with them to create an original series of short form videos that speak specifically to the young adult Gen Z millennial audience. And what we did is specifically created 12 short form videos. And the process is that we post them and distribute them into relevant regions for the brand. And then we see what sort of organic reach it gets. And when I say organic, I just mean the natural views and engagement that you see when you post something on social media. And then what we do subsequent to that initial reach is we start targeting through paid. And when I say paid, I mean we post 12 videos, and suppose 3 of them perform exceptionally well, we put paid media behind it to really drive significantly more eyeballs and engagement into those videos. And in this RBC example, 12 posted videos, we've already done over 10 million views, and the campaign's only been live for a couple of weeks. But there were 4 specific videos that performed exceptionally well. We threw paid behind it, and now we'll be driving that reach closer to 15, 16, 17 million in the coming weeks. So that's sort of the approach that Gamelancer Media takes when we're engaging with blue chip brands.
So as Mike referenced there, and we've talked about around our RBC campaign, all of the clients that we work with, whether it be ESPN or a variety of others, they're coming to us with a problem. And so in this case, for ESPN, we want to get more young people watching linear television broadcasts. So tuning into a TV broadcast on a Saturday, Sunday afternoon, Monday Night Football, whatever it may be, and getting them engaged. So how are we storytelling? How are we building a narrative and therein building a relationship with these folks? So because Gamelancer has this large community, the largest community of gamers on social, we're a very easy partner for them to work with, because not only are we providing them distribution, which is inherently cheaper than going, for instance, to TikTok and buying it, because we have so much organic distribution, such that they're actually going to find a net savings in doing a campaign with Gamelancer. But in addition to that, we provide the creative. And as you'll see here on the left side of the screen, this is from our ESPN NCAA Pac-12 season kickoff. We were the partner for NCAA Pac-12 this year through ESPN, and we kicked off the season on Labor Day weekend. It was a game of which Florida State was very central. So what we did was we worked with a creative artist agency in William Morris Endeavor, sourcing professional athletes who currently play NFL football, but their alma mater is Florida State. And so we went to their respective homes across the United States. We shot content in their living room of them playing video games, talking about how much they love NCAA football, talking about why young gamers should be tuning in, and why gaming and sports, music, and culture are all in that same ecosystem. And that's really that value proposition that we drive home. And so for this campaign, just to reference paid and geolocation, this campaign was geolocated to a constituency of our followers and others in that Florida region, and in regions where the players play for NFL teams. So we know that we're going to get meaningful activation and meaningful attribution from these regions where the players play in the NFL. And then we know if we geo-target it to, say, Florida and in the 200 miles surrounding Florida State, we're going to have massive engagement just organically. So these are the kind of strategies and the levers that we can pull to ensure that our campaigns are successful. So again, when you're seeing these big numbers, you see lots of companies talking about, we've got 100 million viewers, we've got 200,000 viewers. At the end of the day, it comes down to owned and operated channels. What Gamelancer owns is 27 channels across TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat, totaling 34.5 million people. We know everything there is to know about the preferences of these folks and the videos they want to see. And so we're curating content with brands that we know is going to reach them, that we know they're not going to go into the comment section and say, this is horrible, why am I seeing it on a Gamelancer channel? This doesn't feel authentic to our community. We're very thoughtful in that approach. And we also work incredibly close with TikTok. You're going to see an announcement coming out in the new year about our relationship with TikTok, how we're taking it to the next level North America wide. And that's really going to demonstrate our ability to bring a value proposition of not just an audience on TikTok, not just creative that's going to organically and successfully live on TikTok, but a distribution and an ability to target like no other company that's on the platform. So we're really excited for what 2023 has to bring. And with that said, why don't I pass it over to Mike and we can go through some of the other brands that we're working with.
Yeah, so you can see from this slide, we're working with blue chip brands ranging from financial services sector with Royal Bank of Canada to direct-to-consumer products such as Celsius and G Fuel, which are recurring deals monthly recurring deals, I should say, that we've been running for over a year now. We also work with electronics companies. Samsung, of course, is one of our flagship partners. We've run multiple campaigns in Canada and are now about to launch our first campaign in the United States in 2023. Belkin, of course, does $750 million in sales in electronics every year. We ran a campaign to promote some of their headphone products. And then, of course, John mentioned ESPN Disney. We've now run 3 campaigns with them, starting with National Hockey League to help them market the Stanley Cup Finals on our TikTok network, parlaying that into an NCAA Division I FBS football deal, and now into promoting Monday Night Football for the National Football League, which will be beginning on December 19 for the Packers-Rams game. One recurring theme you'll see with our partners is that we always get follow-on business. Not a single brand we've worked with has not renewed or come back for a second contract. And so our approach is very much to approach brands and to demonstrate to them, let us show you what we can do through the power of advertising on TikTok. Let us show you what we can do in terms of engagement rates. Let us show you what we can do in terms of conversions and helping you acquire subscribers or sell more of your product. And then we end up turning that into subsequent recurring business in literally every single instance since the company's inception.
And with that, sorry, Mike.
Sorry,
buddy, go ahead.
I was going to say one thing I'll mention with respect to those revenue figures on the next slide. Something that's really important just to frame where Gamelancer Media is positioned within the broader media sector. TikTok's the #1 platform for which marketers have increased their investments in 2022. Social media ad spend reached approximately $180 billion in 2021. That grew to $274 billion in 2022 and is expected to go to $350 billion in 2023. TikTok is increasingly eating into the market share of Meta and Facebook, into linear television budget deployments from major brands. And what makes Gamelancer Media special is we've built a community. And that's really what makes TikTok, frankly, the #1 marketplace in the world, is its ability to build and foster community. The best brands and the most successful brands on TikTok are ones that work together with users and ones that contribute to these communities. And this is how, users often find themselves in a position where they're inspired to shop even when they weren't originally planning to do so, when they're in our when they're in our ecosystem or on our channels. And brands are starting to realize that while users may first go onto a platform or into the Gamelancer Media Network to be entertained, to watch funny videos, they're staying there for the authenticity, for the community building, and that's really a great pillar for brand loyalty. And so TikTok users, the last point I'll make is they're consuming much less of other content. So Gen Z TikTok users listen to fewer podcasts. They watch less linear TV than their millennial counterparts. So from a brand perspective, imagine the power of having your audience's undivided attention. And that's what we have at Gamelancer. So this represents an incredible opportunity for social media marketers to capitalize on this attention, to reel in their audience, and then to drive more subsequent engagement.
And as Mike mentioned, we're seeing these engagements now finally reflected in our financials. Our Q3 results came out on Monday of this week, generating a little over 1.34 million top line, a naturalized EBITDA of around we lost about 750,000 in cash, but when looking at the consolidated assets, our comprehensive income was a little over 600 grand. So we're seeing this trend now. That was a massive increase quarter over quarter. And it's because we acquired Gamelancer on April 14th of this year. And so we really took the balance of Q2 to get our arms around the asset. And the great thing about it was, just for context, Gamelancer and myself and Mike and our original company, which was Wonder Gaming, we acquired Gamelancer earlier this year, but we were their client for the 6 months preceding. We were selling Gamelancer's media inventory. So you had these two companies that had worked together for 6 months. And then once we won our Canada-wide Samsung campaign, we convinced the guys at Gamelancer to sell to us, and we became all one entity. So we had, two teams of rock stars that came together with differing experiences, but one sole mission, which was to dominate social media as it relates to gaming on Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. And so you're going to see in our Q4 results that continued growth, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 of next year, we're really excited to be able to demonstrate the numbers that we're achieving and that kind of accretive growth that's happening by virtue, as Mike said, of these clients of ours continuing to renew. We have a ton of news coming out shortly with all of the clients that we mentioned, not least of which ESPN, RBC, and Samsung. And we're really excited about how these kind of clients are building and growing with us because we can see it reflected in the market. And one last thing before I pass it back to Mike, and he talks about the dynamic of TikTok's growth and this new hegemony in social media. Gamelancer Media also owns a creative content studio in Vancouver called Joybox, and Joybox curates all of our content. So whether you're looking at our RBC campaign, again, please go on to TikTok, look up the word Joybox, all one word, Joybox. You can see our RBC campaign running right now. You can also see campaigns run with Thorn and No Filter. So we're not just focused on gaming, we're focused on that Gen Z and young millennial demographic. And gaming, again, is the tie that binds. It's where everybody meets, because it's not just about sitting in your basement and playing a console game. It's gaming on your smartphone, on your tablet, or on your console or PC. So we really have this broad ability to speak to all folks with a very high index for females. We're seeing on some of our channels over 62% being female and under 48% being and under 38% being male. And so, this is a whole new phenomenon as it relates to screens being this opportunity to reach out to folks, but be as an opportunity to reach out to that female audience. When we're looking at television in general, you see this bifurcation between advertising to men and advertising to females. And we're seeing a lot of that diminish in the world of advertising on social, especially on TikTok, where you have arguably the most inclusive environment for social media to be populated and for brands to build an opportunity to engage with these young folks. So we're really excited for 2023 and all that's to come. But what you're seeing, this phenomenon that we're building out here, is we are successful by virtue of the fact that we deliver for our customers. And the thing that we love most about it is all of the investors, you can go onto any one of our 27 channels in real time and watch the advertisements, watch the curated content. We're posting over 140 videos a day, and we have created the largest gaming library on TikTok globally. We own the IP, and there's going to be a lot of creative and very unique activations that we're building out based on this massive library of content that we've created over the past 3 years.
And then one closing comment around trends in social media, and particularly addressing the emerging dominance of TikTok when it comes to the advertising sector. Many of these shifting dynamics are, as John said, what informed our decision to acquire Gamelancer and to really go all in on this vertical. But Gamelancer really prides itself on listening to our fans, knowing where our users are discovering products, and finding inspiration on social media to help inform how we shape our brand campaigns. So we're a network that creates curated strategies for, as you now know, everyone from Samsung to RBC to ESPN and Disney. And what that does is provide an avenue for brands to create deeper, more authentic relationships with their customers. And this goes hand in hand with increased personalization. And the amount of data available to marketers, is continuing to increase, but businesses now can provide social media users with more personalized content. In other words, personalization is what ensures you're showing the right ads to the right people at the right time. And we've seen a massive increase in the amount of content published online. And if your social media content lacks personalization, there's a considerably lower chance it's going to resonate with you, that you're going to click on it, that you're going to go shop for a certain product that's marketed to you. And this is part of the secret sauce at Gamelancer, is that in addition to our ability to geo-fence campaigns into relevant regions, to age fence products to an appropriate age group, we really, as I said, pride ourselves in understanding the consumer preferences of our users, caring about what they want to see, which brands they want to engage with, and then we subsequently curate our brand campaigns according to what our fans are telling us, either directly or through their user behavior.
Yeah, and at one point as we move into our last minute here and hop into questions, and I'll just skim through our deck here. But as Mike mentioned, curated content. And by the way, if you want a copy of this presentation, please go to our website, gamelancer.com. Under investors, you'll see a wide variety of tools to learn more about us, not least of which this presentation. So as Mike mentioned, 1.8 billion monthly video views. That's what we're generating. And so this is really important because in the function of selling media, you look at it from the very high end, we call it inventory. So what is the media inventory that we're creating? And so where's the opportunity to sell that? And so when we're talking with these clients, our conversations now are about individual campaigns. But in 2023, you're going to see large brands buying time on our platform. So in the 1 hour leading up to NFL Sunday, you'll see company X providing, basically being the content sponsor for everything you're seeing on a channel like at Gaming. For Major League Baseball going into games on Thursday evenings and Saturdays, you're going to see brands renting our actual channel. So all the content you're going to see is going to be presented by brand X. And this is really the next frontier in selling media against owned and operated channels on platforms such as TikTok. So that's going to be a new revenue stream emerging for us that we're really excited to talk about. As we're entering into the last 4 minutes here, Mike, why don't we take a couple of questions? Maybe I'll take the first one, Mike, and then I'll pass it to you for the second. So we have one of our viewers asked, what were the drivers behind your recent 150% quarter over quarter revenue growth? And do you see a similar growth rate for 2023? So as mentioned earlier, we acquired Gamelancer on April 14th of this year and combined our two companies, which was Wonder Gaming and then Gamelancer. And of course, we took the Gamelancer branding, given the fact that they're the largest gaming name in social. And so for us, we really didn't have a chance to show what the network was capable of in Q2, in spite of the fact that in June of Q2, we were the TikTok partner for the Stanley Cup Finals, which was really exciting. And that kind of led to all of our subsequent business with ESPN and other clients. So, but even Q3 itself is not an adequate snapshot of where we're heading with this business. You're going to see significant growth in Q4. For next year, we're forecasting a little over 18.2 million in revenue. We feel that's a very conservative number, and we think that those numbers are attainable, and we have visibility on being able to hit those by virtue of insertion orders and contracts that we have currently scheduled for the 2023 calendar year. So I think, as we see TikTok growing, as we announce our heightened engagement with TikTok and our other clients as we get into Q1, people are going to get a much more meaningful understanding, A, of how we monetize, but B, of the size and the capability of growth. If you think about the context of the bandwidth of media content that we're creating and the amount of inventory we're creating versus what we're selling, we're selling against less than 4% of our capabilities right now. And that's not considering the fact that we're growing by 1.2 million people a month. So we really have this opportunity to springboard Gamelancer into a highly profitable company in 2023. We will cash flow very soon. If you go and look at our financials, you can see how close we're getting. A little over 1.6 million in receivables in Q3. That number is only growing in Q4 and beyond. So we're really excited for everybody to see that. I think we can all agree we are in the era of earnings. And as a company, myself and Mike and the rest of the team are strongly focused on cash flow positive and showing the market we're going to kick off really nice EBITDA in this business.
So another question building on what you were just discussing, John, is your revenue growth more a function of new customers using your services, or are existing customers increasing spend with you after seeing early results? So the short answer is both. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, every single partner that we've run a testing campaign with has renewed at a higher budget. So as an example, we started with Samsung in Q4 of last year, just promoting their Odyssey monitor. One product, simple stream. We promoted it with Fred VanVleet and Chris Boucher of the Toronto Raptors. They were all playing Call of Duty using the monitor, commenting on it, etc. That campaign subsequently saw an increase in monitor sales of 41% quarter over quarter. So then Samsung increased the budget by 6x to promote all their connected devices across Canada specifically. That campaign just went live a couple of weeks ago. It's been a resounding success. Then the US office heard about us, and now we're doing a deal with the American office in Q1 of 2023. That's the dynamic we tend to see here at Gamelancer is once we have a chance to demonstrate the power of our network and its ability to drive engagement and results, brands keep coming back for more.
Yeah, and I think with that said, it's important to focus on the investment community's ability to actually see these campaigns unfolding in real time. Please go on to follow our YouTube business channel, follow our LinkedIn. You'll see we are very active and we're very concerned with our ability to continue to story tell to the investment community. Because as you do your due diligence, you're going to see there's not another company out there like us. Nobody owns a network even close to ours on Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. And the future is these platforms, and more specifically, the future is TikTok. We're continuing to see real entrenchment happening and brands moving massive budgets away from television and towards social. And we're there to pick up. Big thank you to everybody for tuning in today. I believe we're now at 30 minutes. On behalf of myself, Mike, and all my colleagues at Gamelancer Media Corp, we greatly appreciate you taking the time. Please go to gamelancer.com to learn more and follow all of our TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat channels. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.